Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to a special afternoon version of Crocker and Cohn. That's Eric Crocker. I'm Grant Cohn. Good to see you, Eric. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited.
It's the calm before the storm right now. Everyone's waiting for Jimmy Garoppolo to get traded. I feel like a lot of people thought it was going to happen yesterday. Once Carson Wentz happened, everyone's like, "Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go." And there's like, "Oh, the Colts are interested in Jimmy," and everyone's like, "Here it goes," because dude in Denver said the Broncos are interested in Russell Wilson, and like an hour later he was there. Now it's been 24 hours, and I'm like, yo, what is the holdup? What do you think the holdup is, man?
I think it's just the medical checkups. He just had the surgery 2 days ago, I believe. So I think once the
Yeah,
reports come back on that, if everything is good, they have their doctors look at it. I think then you'll see someone potentially make a move on Jimmy Garoppolo.
I got a different theory. I have no evidence to back it up, but this is where my mind goes. It's why Debo Samuel blocked me on Twitter because I have theories. I feel like, sure, they're interested, Indianapolis, in Jimmy Garoppolo. That's probably not coming from Indy, though. That's probably coming from Don Yee or the 49ers. And if that interest were real, like hot and heavy interest, like let's say the Colts were offering a couple of third-round picks, this would be over. This would have been announced. It would be unofficially announced, I think. I think what's most likely happened, the Colts were like, yeah, we like Jimmy. We'll offer you a fourth-round pick, maybe two fourth-round picks. And then I was like, we'll get back to you. We will get back to you. And they're like, hey, we got so much interest in there's so many suitors. So they're talking about we got multiple teams interested. And all of a sudden now the Colts are like, or there's reports that the Colts like Derek Carr, who isn't even available. I don't know, man. I think this is negotiations. I think the Colts have a pretty low price, and the Niners are like, we got a week to see if we can up it. So let's just gin up a market. I don't know. That's the way I see it, but I'm cynical.
And that would be smart of the 49ers to do so. You know, if you got one suitor, there's probably a couple other teams. And I mean, it's clear what teams would be in the market for a quarterback. Maybe Pittsburgh Steelers. Can you get something out of them? I mean, a few years ago, that was a team that gave up a first-round pick for a safety. Now, Minka is great, of course, but he wasn't the all-pro yet. And they gave up a first round for him without even thinking about it when they weren't even good. So maybe they'll be interested in Garoppolo services and potentially give up something a little bit more than what the Colts are offering.
The thing with Jimmy is like he's a 1-year rental unless you extend him. But extending him just got more complicated because he just had shoulder surgery. Like, wouldn't you want to see him throw a ball post surgery before you gave him another contract? I would.
Well, the way they sound, the way they make it sound, this isn't like a torn rotator cuff or a torn labrum, which I mean, those are like really bad shoulder injuries, right? True. This is something that John Lynch categorized as minor.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, supposed to be minor behind the shoulder or something. But
and again, they hope he's ready for week. Sorry.
And they hope he's ready, but how hurt is he when we saw him play? And really, it looked like Jimmy Garoppolo. So I do think it's something minor. Maybe there's just some pain. Get rid of the pain. It'll heal up. You'll be able to throw a ball just fine.
Okay, so I'm supposed to believe. I'm not putting words in your mouth at all. I'm trying to make sense of what I'm hearing from Twitter. The Colts are going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo and give him an extension coming off shoulder surgery because they missed the play. It seems like they're overreacting to that one loss against Jacksonville. Like, you're going to throw away Carson Wentz, who is statistically a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo, because you lost that one game and Carson Wentz is unpopular and people like Jimmy. That's the move, and you're going to extend him? Like, they don't even have a first-round pick, Eric. They're going to trade one of their top picks for Jimmy and be like, boom, there's our offseason. Here we go. Super Bowl. Like,
yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. It's definitely a parallel move, and there are a lot of people that feel like, Carson Wentz is better. And if you think that, I won't have any pushback on it. I think, from my perspective, it sounds like everybody hates Carson Wentz. They hate the person that Carson Wentz is. And it's like if we're not going to make the playoffs with this guy, we want him off of the roster.
Yeah,
we just don't like him. Whereas Jimmy Garoppolo, where you get similar play in the sense of like production,
same tier,
but same tier. There we go, same tier, but. Hey, everyone loves him, and maybe he can will us to a couple extra wins, and that's kind of been the difference for the 49ers, where, okay, you can get weird up and down play throughout the year, but at the very least, when you need it most, Jimmy will make a couple throws to where, we beat the Rams. We're in the playoffs. In that same week, the Colts watch Wentz stink it up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I don't think Jimmy would have ever let that happen. So I think that's how they're looking. Can Jimmy be a game or two better than Carson Wentz in the sense of win-loss? And I think he can. I don't think he's more talented. I don't think he's just overall better, but there's something extra that he has, whether guys love playing for him, whatever it is, it helps result in wins.
I got something outrageous I want to say before we move topics. If I were doing quality control for the Colts and I said, don't go after Jimmy, and they're like, all right, well, what would you suggest then? What's your alternative? I'm like, all right, here we go. You should sign Jameis Winston. I would rather sign Jameis Winston than trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. I know Jameis Winston's coming off a torn ACL. He was quite immature. We all know his story. I mean, in college, early on with Tampa Bay, his decision-making on and off the field was not good. But I think he's matured a lot since he spent those 2 years in New Orleans. And last year, he was 5-2. He threw 14 touchdowns and 3 picks. Jimmy could never in a million years have a stretch where he went, maybe he could, 14 touchdowns and 3 picks. Maybe he's done it. I don't think he has. I think Jameis Winston is younger, more gifted, cheaper. I'd rather have Jameis Winston.
I think the cheaper, that's the bigger part of that, right? But
no draft pick.
There's still a lot of unknown with him. Like, how much can you win like throughout the entire season? Because even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the last year he was there, he threw 30 touchdowns. He also threw 30 interceptions, right?
Yes.
But they were really on the cusp of making the playoffs. But is Jameis going to do some weird things when you are on the cusp, almost like they just got from Carson Wentz, that ultimately makes it to where he's just not a playoff caliber quarterback to that extent? I think that might be, I think with Jimmy Garoppolo, you know a little bit more of what you're getting, regardless of whether it's good or bad. Like, you know exactly who Jimmy is. And I do think that there are teams that are going to, they're going to be willing to take that on. They're going to be willing to say, you know what, we know we may not be able to lean on him to be Jameis Winston or make those big throws downfield, do some of the exciting things Jameis does. But, hey, we got a good running back. We know we can lean on this run game. We can lean on this defense, and we just need Jimmy to make a throw here and there. He's capable of doing that. So that would be kind of my pushback if I'm trying to sell Jimmy Garoppolo to the Colts.
No one can sell Jimmy Garoppolo to me. I'm just the ultimate hater. I've been trying to think about it. Like, well, I'm sorry. Bill Walsh used to say the quarterback is the limit of your offense. All I see when I see Jimmy Garoppolo is limitations left and right. What is the biggest strength he has as a quarterback? What is that?
Leadership.
It's all intangible,
that's
right?
what everybody talks about. They don't talk about arm strength. They don't talk about the way he sees the field. They don't talk about athleticism. They don't. Nothing. He's a great leader.
Miss me with
that. And they win with him.
Miss me with that. Let's see how that reminds me of when I was a kid and the Warriors spent hella money on signing Derek Fisher because he was a champion, a winner. It's like, you're not getting Shaq and Kobe, right? You know that, right? And I'm just saying that's what happened. But
I'll tell you what went wrong with Derek Fisher. He wears his headband over his ears, and that's just
not
so
a good
terrible.
look.
Klay Thompson does that now, and I'm like, Klay, you got to cut that out.
And you can't trust Derek Fisher around your wife. Sorry, I'm just saying. That's mad. Okay, so Ray says, made my girlfriend mad, but I'm still mad. What do I do, Grant? Please help. Man, that's a tough one out of left field. You made your girlfriend mad, and you're still mad. Well, if you're still mad, maybe she needs to talk to you about it. I don't know.
Women are always right. So, even when they're wrong, they're still right. Soon you learn that, you might still be mad, but she'll be happy.
I don't know, man. That's not your wife, though. That's your girlfriend. When I was in like, girlfriend,
I didn't care.
My go-to was if there was a fight, let's not talk for 72 hours. Because my thing was girls break before 72 hours. I can't say that on here. Not girls, but I was, when I was 20. There's a lot of drama, and the girls, they want to text and call and cry and stuff like, no, I'm not talking to you for 72 hours. And if you still feel that way, let's talk. And a lot of times, they just, at that point, they'd be like, I don't even know what we're fighting about anymore. It's like, that's right.
That's a good, I might have to steal that
72 hours.
My wife.
They break. I'm sorry. I can't say that. I shouldn't say that.
Young me, though, 20 years old, 21 years old. Like,
72 hours is tough,
I wasn't dealing with none of that. Like, you're out of here.
See, man. Yeah, that's probably the better way to just be direct, man. Just be direct, not like me. DRB says shoulder surgery also means teams can't see how his thumb looks. Did this injury just disappear? Throwing the ball until the shoulder is hit. See, I don't know, man. This shoulder surgery thing, Joe Staley said it. He's like, this seems like they're trying to kind of tank their own trade value. I think so.
The thumb thing, I see, I'm not a doctor. Is that something that can heal on its own? If so, then by the time the shoulder stuff is done, he'll be good anyways with the thumb.
Yeah. Gabriel says the decision to move from Wentz was totally out of frustration, but they didn't have exactly a plan. Now they have a Super Bowl roster without a quarterback. That's exactly the organization that would make the mistake of trading for Jimmy G. But at the same time, we hear they're trying to get Derek Carr, who isn't available, which is what Pete Carroll said like 4 days before he traded Russell Wilson. So I'm curious. I just don't see a team going from Wentz to Garoppolo and being like, we upgraded.
I think the issue is if you're one of those teams, whether you're the coach, the position that they put themselves in, a playoff caliber team with no quarterback, or if you're the Raiders, we want to trade Derek Carr, you're in the same situation as the coaches were. Now you're trying to figure it out. I think where, the 49ers are kind of winning here is, they trade Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, we got to trade Lance, and we just traded all that stuff to get him third overall pick. It's a little different. So I don't know. I don't see the Raiders just moving off. Every team, I assume, if they're moving off of their quarterback, is to get Deshaun Watson, but the Colts can't do that because they're in the same division as as the Titans. So yeah, I think Jimmy Garoppolo is kind of the only answer to that, unless you want to go with Mr. Trubisky. But we saw him from several years in Chicago, and he wasn't very good.
Jameis the GOAT says, Ben, yes. J-Rod says, Grant the therapist. I just want to amend what I said. What I'm saying is a 72-hour cooling off period. A lot of times, drama just perpetuates. Just don't feed into the drama, and then just have a discussion when everyone's chilled like 72 hours later, because the initial emotions worn off. You don't have the yelling and the crying. I'm just saying, it worked for me. Let's move on. I got more to talk about with Jimmy. So I'm not sold that Jimmy's going to Indianapolis. I think there might be a dark horse destination. And I think it's the Raiders. Now, they say they're not trading Derek Carr. This is another team that has a quarterback on a 1-year. He's a free agent next year. They have a new quarterback. They have a new staff. We have no idea how they feel about Carr. They say they like him, but they have to say that. If you really like him, you extend him. Otherwise, you lose him for nothing next year, or a third-round comp pick, which everyone says he's worth a first. I think he's probably worth a first. So if they somehow, under the cover of darkness, just shock everyone and trade Derek Carr to maybe not the Colts, but say the Saints. Dennis Allen, need a quarterback. Maybe the Niners could turn around and trade Jimmy to Josh McDaniels. What do you think?
Wait, so do you think that Derek Carr is worth more than Jimmy Garoppolo?
I do. I mean, I think Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not sure what he's worth coming off this shoulder surgery. People say a third. I think more like a fourth. I think people say Carr's worth the first. I can't really argue with that. Can't argue with that.
Oh,
the Saints could trade their first round pick this year for Derek Carr. Would Dennis Allen do it?
I think they're in the same tier. It's almost like Carson Wentz. I think the biggest thing you win with those two guys is, well, they're healthy. Derek Carr doesn't really miss games. He did a couple times early in his career. Hasn't missed games since then. You can hang your hat on that. But I don't know if he's just better. Really. I don't know if he's just better than him. But yeah, as far as the coach,
Derek Carr's more like the Kirk Cousins tier, which I think is one tier ahead of Jimmy. But I don't know. That's debatable.
They're kind of all lumped in together with me. They're the biggest. If you want to put them a tier ahead, it's because they're healthier more.
That's fair.
And I know that some of the stats they put up are better. Like Cousins has better stats, but when I watch him play, I don't think like this guy's just better than Garoppolo.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Like when you watch Derek Carr play, he plays well enough to get you beat. Basically, he's not that imposing. Anyway, I think there is something there. The fact that they haven't extended Derek Carr, I could look, like you just said, he's not that good. I could see Josh McDaniels being like, look, what am I doing with Derek Carr? We're the worst team in the AFC West. He's about 30. He's not going to get better.
What's the alternative for them though? What's the alternative? Like what's the alternative for Oakland if it's not Derek Carr? Now, if you're a coach, right, Josh McDaniels, you finally got your shot again as a head coach, which I feel like he's like the hot name every year. But finally, okay, you got a team. You at the very least have a quarterback who's very competent and he's a veteran. I think there's value to that as opposed to being a head coach first year again. A lot of people probably looking to see you fail and they're expecting you to. They want to see you do bad. You got to have a quarterback there that like, all right, I can win with this quarterback. Derek Carr is good enough. And when you just watch Carr, he is good enough to win with.
Jimmy, but Jimmy's a winner.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's similar. I would rather first-year head coach. I said the same thing with Robert Saleh. I didn't want to see Robert Saleh go in there with Zach Wilson and his future. Now everybody looks at Robert Saleh like, oh, it was terrible hire. He says, well, yeah,
already
because he drafted this rookie quarterback. It's not. You don't want to do that,
especially in New York. Like every other coach gets 3 years. In New York, you get 2. You better show something. Otherwise, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if what happened to Vic Fangio happens to Saleh. Like you built a good team, but you just didn't have the right quarterback. Well, we'll see exactly what happens. Anyway, Josh McDaniels, go make a terrible decision. Trade Derek Carr to New Orleans and bring in Jimmy because Jimmy's a leader. Jimmy will get that locker room. He will set the culture for your team. He's exactly what you need. Any chance Bobby Wagner playing for the 49ers? That's our next topic. Should the 49ers sign Bobby Wagner? Because according to multiple reports, they're interested, as are the Cardinals and Rams.
I mean, I like the young guys. I mean, how much money are we talking about? And do you just say, you know what, just because he's Bobby Wagner and his name, is he still playing at a high level? I hear last year he played better, but the year before it wasn't as great. I think Azeez Al-Shaair, he's been playing awesome, you know, and bring him back. You still got Greenlaw. I kind of like the three backers they have, but I mean, I guess I wouldn't complain about signing Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be an upgrade, but do you really need to spend money on another linebacker? Like, it seems
Yeah, how much
like,
money is it? You know,
why do you need to do that? Yeah, Warner's good, Al-Shaair's good, Greenlaw's still on the team. I seem like, here's my guess here. I think they're trying to drive the price up. I don't think they have intention of spending. I mean, that would be really expensive. 2 inside linebackers. Warner's the highest paid. This guy's really expensive. I think they're trying to. If he's going to go to the Rams, let's make sure the Rams spend a lot of money on this guy, because it seems like a perfect fit for the Rams. Their linebackers are terrible.
yeah, and we know how they go all in and on the name. I like how they swing. They swing big. They swing for the fences, and ultimately it paid off. I like that. Maybe they will go out and get Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, well, I mean, when he went out on the free agent market, I'm like, boom, that's exactly who the Rams would get. And I think the Niners probably thought the same thing. It's like, well, let's make sure that they pay as much as possible for this guy. If the Niners actually give this guy $8 million, I'm like,
what culture do you think is better?
Who
do you think players, free agents, are they going to be more imposed? Are they going to want to play for Shanahan more or McVay? Like, if you're a free agent and you can go to you get to choose between these two destinations, who are you playing for, Shanahan or McVay?
I mean, McVay. I'd go for the money, but I'd go for McVay too. Yeah, I would go for McVay, I guess. Yeah. But from the Niners' perspective, like, you really want to spend a good chunk of your salary cap space on an inside linebacker? Why? You're good at linebacker. That's one of your better positions. You can draft and develop that position. Really, like, what about DB? Ever? Are you ever going to do that? I mean, I don't think Wagner's good at a lot of stuff, but coverage at this point in his career, probably not his strength. I wouldn't
think it's his strength.
Even the porn stars don't want Jimmy. You don't know that for a fact. Don't put that out there on Jimmy. That's slanderous. I bet they do. This pairing of Croc and Cohn is like a real-life depiction of that angel devil on the shoulder thing from the cartoons. Y'all know which is which. Hey, man. But you can't have the angel without the devil, so they're important. They balance each other out.
Yeah.
The Raiders would be like Bruno Bars to the Warriors? Bruno Bars? Bruno Mars? Bruno Bars.
Who's Bruno
I don't know,
Mars?
Gary. You gave me $10, though. Thanks.
I know who Bruno Mars is, and I mean, you know, but I don't catch the.
I don't get it, but Jimmy G.
Bruno Mars, I think he be doing like drugs and stuff, don't he?
Here's my thing: why I want Jimmy to go to the Raiders, because I don't care. I'm not a Niner fan, but it seems to me that him and Don Yee tried to get tricky at the end of his little tenure with the Niners, and maybe hurt his trade value and pick his own destination on the free agent market. That's what Joe Staley said too. So if that's what you tried to do, then you deserve to end up in the AFC West on the worst team, looking up at Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Justin Herbert. I just think that's football karma. I'm saying. Yeah. All right, back to the show. I'm just going to ask you a bunch of free agents. You tell me if the Niners should sign them or not. And I'm going to start with a cornerback that's going to get a ton of money that the Niners are reportedly very interested in. I can see it. He's really good. 25 picks, 4 years. J.C. Jackson. Should the Niners sign J.C. Jackson?
Dang, man, it's supposed to be an easy question, but it's kind of loaded a little bit. I would love to have J.C. Jackson as a 49er. Sure. I don't think they need J.C. Jackson to win games.
Okay.
So if they can make it work and you don't have to lose Laken Tomlinson, then all right, I'm all for it. Load up while Trey Lance is on his rookie contract.
Hold on, let me retort though. Of course, they don't need a premium corner to win games. They've proven that for a long time. But every time the Niners have won a Super Bowl, they've had a premium DB in their secondary. From Deion Sanders to Ronnie Lott to Eric Wright. Like, it's been part of, just saying. And also, I think most Super Bowl winners usually have a Pro Bowler in their secondary that year. I'm sure there's exceptions. So I'm talking about winning a Super Bowl right here and taking this team over the top. Clearly, the quarterback position is the most important spot there, but I would be all for it, man. If they gave this guy 5 years, $100 million, I would say A+. $20
million a year. Yeah.
Cost of doing business.
Who am I losing? That. Who am I losing? Because I just watched the Patriots give up 47 points in the playoffs and not, they couldn't do anything with Josh Allen. He threw 5 touchdowns. He threw more touchdowns than incompletions. So how much of an impact, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to lose other areas and be weaker there
You'll
because
lose
I
probably
paid 20
DJ
million.
Jones, Arden Key,
You know
every
what I'm
free agent,
saying?
Layton Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
would think so. Okay.
when I watched the 49ers last year, I didn't think it was because of corners. I mean, I just thought the offense couldn't score enough points.
I just felt like if this team could now they forced a ton of fumbles last year, which was crazy, and they ended up getting a lot of turnovers. But if they could just be middle of the pack in interceptions, the defense would be winning actually more games for them than they are.
I can see that. And that's when he's valuable. You pay him 20 million because he's good for 5 to 7 picks a year.
Here's my hesitation. Why doesn't Bill Belichick want to give him that money?
Belichick is really good at getting rid of a player 1 year too soon as opposed to a year too late.
Yeah, so if he's out, I'm like, what do I not know about J.C. Jackson? I know he got kicked out of school. I mean, that's a long time ago. Clearly, he's a hell of a professional, but usually Belichick's right. Now, he did trade Chandler Jones, and it's not like Chandler Jones was washed. He was
and Collins, too. Collins was still solid after, but yeah, Chandler Jones, that's the one. Chandler's been one of the most underrated football players in all of the NFL, him and Brandon Cooks. So
and it seems like with a
he's
really
been
cheap
amazing.
quarterback like Mac Jones, you could afford J.C. Jackson. And with a cheap quarterback like Trey Lance, you could afford J.C. Jackson. I'm in. But you're cautious. I respect it. Trill Life just gives $1 because he's Trill. I appreciate it. True and real at the same time. Do the Niners brass ever tell you to cool it? LOL. No, they just pretend like I don't exist, which I think is the smart thing to do is that they try to be nice to me. They're like, hey, Grant, I love your work. Then I'd be like, oh, man, I can't be mean to Kyle because he's nice. But he doesn't do that. He just ignore me. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to keep talking crap then. I'm sorry. Josh says trade Jimmy to Seattle. Niners get draft picks plus Warner gets picks twice.
Yeah.
I think Seattle's aiming I think Seattle's aiming for Deshaun Watson. That's my hot take.
I don't even think it's a hot take. I mean, I think that's when you make a move like that and you have that type of draft capital, I think that's what the move has got to be. Now, I think tomorrow we find out more about what's going on with Deshaun Watson. So once that stuff, whatever happens Friday, if it comes out in a positive view for him, he'll be a Seahawk, I think, by Monday.
Thank you. Let's talk about that for a second. Friday is a big grand jury hearing. We'll either know if these are criminal charges or civil charges, right?
I don't even know exactly what. I just know it's like a big day.
Hey, if I'm right, and they'll either decide whether these are civil charges or criminal charges. If he has criminal charges, he's not playing anywhere for a while. If they're civil, he sat out last year. How many years are you going to suspend a guy for a case that's going to be tried in civil court over money? I'm just saying, I don't know what happened, but if that's what the case is, seems like Pete Carroll is the kind of guy who would go for that. I mean, he drafted Frank Clark.
Yeah, and coaches can do that because everything you hear about Deshaun Watson, like he's not a bad guy. Now his decision making has been a little weird, right? But
I'm not vouching for Deshaun Watson, but it seems like his teammates unlike Carson Wentz, right?
When I say he's not a bad guy, prior to this situation, which is very weird, and I've talked about it in the NFL, I've been there in the NFL. They got the massages stuff. Yeah. It's all set up for you already.
Yeah.
So why do you
don't have to get? Yeah, you don't have to go outside the facility.
So that's a little interesting. I'll just say word it that way. But prior to that, everything you hear about him is the most amazing person ever. So he got a weird fetish. I don't even say weird fetish.
I don't know what the hell
stuff,
he did. But I hope he didn't assault anyone. But it just seems like Pete Carroll is ready to pounce, and he's going to be like, I don't know. I mean, the justice system ran its course. He's not going to jail. He's sat out last year. I'm 70 years old. I'm going to rebuild. I mean, he's going to get Malik Willis, who everyone says is kind of like the next Trey Lance. Good player, might need a little time. He's 70 years old. I don't see it. So Deshaun Watson coming to the NFC West probably by Monday, according to Eric Crocker. You heard it here first. All right, moving
by Monday.
Neil says adding JC and Bobby is a no-fly zone, but need money. Yeah, that's the problem with cap space. All right, another DB. Should the 49ers sign DJ Reed? They've been linked to him. Apparently, there's interest.
Yeah, I like it because 49ers, if they let Kwan Williams walk, they have a void at the nickel position. And one thing about DJ Reed, he can play not just nickel, he can play outside as well. And he's familiar with these guys, and I bet the communication will be on point. So a guy who can fill a void at multiple spots, depth at the outside corner spot, and a legit nickel, I really like the thoughts of that.
Yeah, I like it too. Obviously, he'd be a lot cheaper. I don't know how much it'll be. Maybe $14 million a year. That's a lot. Maybe a little bit less. DJ Reed. Million. 10? What do you think? For DJ Reed. A year. If J.C. Jackson's 20, what would DJ Reed command?
Are you talking about the corner that used to be with the Niners?
Yeah. Not that much.
Kansas State, DB.
Yeah. Well, how much do you think he's going to get? I'm tripping.
Oh, like $3 million a year.
Hold on. Let's see what Spot Track says because they often have like a estimate. I don't know how good their estimate is. No, they don't have it. Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I mean, he's had a couple good years, but I guess he's on a big name. If they get him for $3 million, great. That's Emmanuel Mosley price.
Hold on, real quick. I gotta address it because somebody said, yeah, weird. He said sexual assault is a weird fetish. He put down quotes like, I don't mean that the sexual assault stuff is a fetish. I'm saying just having that many massages or masseuses. Like that's the part that's he has a weird fetish with that. Like now what happens after I don't know.
We don't know. We literally don't know what happened in those places, but just him going to every single massage therapist in Houston right there is weird. Not even knowing what happened in the rooms because we weren't there, but I know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just having that many different that's weird. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's a confirmed fact, and there's no real way you can explain that. Everyone's like,
right.
Huh? Okay. Chris says the both of y'all. Clap, clap, clap. God bless you both. Hey, thanks, Chris. That's Mr. Roscoe's on Twitter. Everyone knows Mr. Roscoe's. He's the man. He's the best. Jason says, per sources, Indy has an influx of porn stars. Wow. Didn't see that coming. Resilient Motto says, question for my guy Crocker. Jimmy's most realistic destination after Wilson and Wentz gets traded.
I think the Colts, because they are in a win-now situation, and they have a team that's set up for him to succeed. They got a good defense. They got that set up. They got a good running game. You got Jonathan Taylor, one of the best young running backs in the league, if not the best. Some people might think he's the best running back in the NFL. You got a Michael Pittman. Now you just add a couple of guys, a run-after-catch guy, and I think you're set up for Jimmy Garoppolo to be, if he's going to be successful, it'll be in that type of environment. And I think he fits the culture of the Colts. They're like all good guys, right? Like, that's not a team that they don't swing for the fences a whole lot. They just want guys, can you be good? Can you do your job? I think Jimmy Garoppolo can fit in well there.
Sean says, how about a three-way trade? Kittle to Green Bay, Love to Tampa Bay, Brady to SF. High risk because they're in the same conference, but it addresses needs for everyone.
Wait, so who goes to Tampa? Oh, Love to Tampa. So essentially Tampa would be trading Tom Brady for Jordan Love? No way.
No, thanks. I don't think so. That's for a late first-round pick. No. What about Tom Brady to Pittsburgh?
I think that people should be talking more about that than him to the 49ers.
Claypool, I can see him not. I mean, also, wouldn't Tomlin just stay out of his way? Like, you get the offense. You're the offense. I'll do the defense.
He'd run the show. That would almost be like when Peyton Manning went to Denver and I know some dudes that were like receivers during that time. They're like, man, it was his show. I mean, he taught the coaches the offense.
Right.
And I think like this is what we're gonna run.
Hell yeah. And that's how we did it in Denver. I mean, that's how we did it in Indianapolis for a long time too. I think Brady's issue with Arians is that Arians started telling him what to do. He's like, would you shut up? Who are you before I came to Tampa Bay? Leave me alone. So maybe he might want to work with another defensive coach like Tomlin and Belichick. Only spend big on Chandler Jones, in my opinion. Oh, I don't have him as one of my topics. Should the Niners sign Chandler Jones? He's kind of expensive.
Yeah, he's kind of, now if you were to tell me, hey, we could bring back DJ Jones, Arden Key, and you got Ebukam, let's have those guys, and then maybe go out and sign like a J.C. Jackson. I would go that route as opposed to bringing in Chandler Jones.
That's a lot. Okay, next one. Should the 49ers sign Juju Smith-Schuster, another guy they've reportedly shown interest in?
No.
Why?
I think he brings a very similar dynamic as Juwan Jennings. Now, I'm not saying Juwan Jennings is as good as him, but maybe if Juwan Jennings was in a scenario where he could get more targets and not have Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, taking a lot of the targets from him, I think there's a potential for him to be more productive where, he'd be like the number 2 target, but he's just a slot. And so I think they are very similar guys. Just one has been more productive, but I don't know how much it moves the needle. 49ers, if you're going to go get a receiver, get someone that brings a different dynamic than any of the guys you have. Someone that could be a legit contested catch guy. Someone who can stretch the field vertically and like legit scare defenses downfield and maybe have some return value.
I always felt that Juju was a little overrated. I mean, he had a great second year in 2018. He went to the Pro Bowl. He had 1,400 yards. But I still felt like he was kind of feasting on the attention that Antonio Brown was creating. And ever since then, he hasn't. I mean, he had 500 yards in 2019. He has 800 in 2020, and he missed 12 games last year. I mean, you could get him cheap, probably, I would think, but I wouldn't spend that much on him. And this,
No, I like Juju, but shoot, if it was up to me, Juju would have been picked. Nope, I would probably did the same thing the Niners did. I wanted Juju and I wanted Akello. Juju got picked right before the 49ers pick. The 49ers ended up trading that pick. I think Kamara was picked, and the 49ers drafted Akello Witherspoon. But I wondered if the 49ers were eyeing Juju. I wonder if that was
Chris Mr. Roscoe is going to hit me up right after the show, be like, "Hey, good show, but we need to talk about what you said about Juju. That's not fair." He rides for every USC.
100%. He probably FaceTiming me right now.
Absolutely. What are you saying? Anyway, he's done that with me and Hufunga a couple of times too. Love you, Chris. All right, trades. Should the 49ers trade Dre Greenlaw, especially if they're considering signing Bobby freaking Wagner?
Yeah, I mean, if you get Wagner, then yeah. Now, is Wagner going to play a different role than what he's playing?
He's a middle linebacker.
Right. Don't the 49ers have one? I think his name is.
I think they do.
I don't know.
Also got a number 54 too. I don't know. I don't see it. So okay, let's say Wagner goes to the Rams though. Should they trade Dre Greenlaw? They still have Azeez Al-Shaair.
I don't think. I think it's Al-Shaair that's one that you have to bring back. So I mean, Greenlaw is cheap right now. I think you keep him. He can start. If need be. He could be a legit, solid will. Knows the defense. I mean, you keep him. I don't think you create a hole and a need at that position for somebody that's pretty reliable.
Well, the other way I was looking at it is, what about Azeez Al-Shaair? Apparently, now that there's words out that the Niners are interested in Wagner, teams are calling them on Greenlaw and Azeez Al-Shaair. Like, are they available? One or the other? What about Azeez? I mean, it seemed like that's a guy you would want to actually give an extension to. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I know they're able to kind of, what was he, like restricted free agent, I believe?
Yes.
So you could bring him back for the low this year and then just kind of play it out and see what happens after that. Or if you can sign him and there's not a lot. I mean, there are some people, not me, but there are some people that think he's better than Fred Warner. You'll never hear me say that, but I know I've heard people kind of.
Well, Fred Warner has a whole track record of success. I thought there were times last year where Azeez was actually making a bigger impact, but Azeez hasn't been an all-pro yet, so hard to say that he's better than Warner.
Right.
But I would keep him. I don't see the Niners. I don't think the Niners need to bring in Wagner. Don't bring in Wagner. That would be such a mistake. I'm saying.
I don't think it would be a mistake, but
it would be a misallocation of funds. It wouldn't be a mistake.
All right, there we go.
That's what I would say. All right, last topic, and this is just for this is a Debo topic. You already blocked me once, so I can't get in trouble again. He posts cryptic stuff all the time. And I love this about him because he's hella smart and he knows exactly what he's doing. So now he tells people that he's looking for real estate out in Miami. Realtors in Miami, hit me up ASAP. Cool. Miami's a fun place to be. It's just that his, coach Wes Welker just went out to Miami. I'm just saying. And then he has a little thing on Instagram about how upset he is about gas prices. That's a big thing in California right now, and how he's going to get a Tesla. Of course, he doesn't say that this has anything to do with the 49ers or his contract negotiations, of course, because he's very smart. But he doesn't say what it's about either. What do you think it's about?
He trains there in the offseason. So I think it's really about that. Look at guys like George Kittle. There are a lot of guys, when I was in the league, most of the guys, especially not the big name guys, they do stay in extended stay hotels, and they had their crib back wherever they want their house at.
True.
So a guy like Debo, he might have like a little apartment or a condo or whatever in Santa Clara, maybe live in Santana Row. But hey, I want my legit house, like where I go, where I spend time, where my family, I want that to be in Miami. And why wouldn't you? If you can afford that, which clearly he's about to have an extension, he can afford anything he wants. So hell yeah, I mean, that would be my offseason house too. I want to train there. I heard someone talk about him working with Trey Lance in the offseason, and I believe he said it or someone said it or whatever, but it was like, yeah, if Trey Lance wants to work with me in the offseason, he got to come to Miami because that's where I'm going to be training. So, I think that's just where he wants to be in the offseason. I don't think it has to do with the coach.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think people realize how few 49ers actually live full-time in California or the Bay Area. Like, none of them. Probably, maybe Jimmy, although I don't know where Jimmy – I actually get the feeling that Jimmy's in Chicago a lot in the offseason. Other than that, Kyle? It'd probably be Kyle and John. That'd be about it. Otherwise, like it's really expensive. You're not from there, and it's not San Francisco or Oakland. It's the South Bay. People are like, I'll just go back to Miami. Here's what I want to say about Debo. I know he's not overtly making comments on the 49ers, but he's really smart. And what he does is puts out cryptic stuff on social media and doesn't say what it is and lets people interpret how they want. And he just sits back and smiles. And I love that. But I think part of the people who are wondering are the 49ers. When he's like, is he saying he doesn't like being here? Is he saying, like, you don't know? You just don't know. And you just play that game. What is he saying? And he's thinking about it all day.
Listen, when I played for the San Jose SaberCats back in 2015, our apartment was like $2,500 a month. And that was back then. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, for this same place in Stockton is like $800. You know, like, why is it so expensive here? I think these players, no matter how much money you have, you know, you see that and you're getting taxed like crazy. Like, dude, I want to make Florida my residence. Don't they? I don't think they have state taxes in Florida.
No, absolutely not.
So it's like no state taxes. If I'm gonna pay money for something, let me be on the beach somewhere with all these Dominican women and all that.
Hey, I've been to Miami once. It was for the Super Bowl. And the thing about it is it's hella warm and girls don't wear that much clothes because it's hella warm, unlike the Bay. So I was like, damn, man, you girls are really not wearing. But then what's crazy is at the moment's notice, like pouring rain for a good 90 seconds. And everyone's like, oh my God, oh my God. But then it's cool. It's like, oh, well, maybe you should have been prepared for that. So anyway, Miami's pretty fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
That's my impression of girls in Miami. Oh my God. That's what happened. I'm like, see, in the Bay, we're always prepared for those things. Debo, I like his cryptic tweets. Although it's more on Instagram, and he can't block me on Instagram because I'm not on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's 4D chess right there.
Debo is cool. I think, you know, there are some people that, you know, he did put out a tweet about family or something, and or it was something along those lines, the game and business side of things. So maybe he's just kind of someone that's a deep thinker, you know, and I don't know. So people can't tell like what's supposed to be deep and then what's not supposed to be deep, you know?
I think he is a deep thinker. I think he's really smart, and I think he likes messing with people. Let me put out something that's really not about anything and see how people interpret it. And now I'm going to learn about you. I'm going to learn about you, and I'm going to mess with you. I don't know. Debo has this smile on his face all the time, like he's got a secret. You know what I mean? Like he knows something that no one else does. He's got this like, it's like, what do you know, Debo? What is it?
Yeah.
I think he's hella smart. He's been very good at managing his career. Apparently, he goes and talks to Kyle every day like they're friends. Smart. Hella smart. Hella smart. I don't think Brandon Ayuk figured that out. I don't know if he ever will. But Debo figured it out. I'm going to make the play caller my best friend. Nice.
Yeah. And he calls him Kyle. He doesn't even call him Coach.
And he calls him Kyle. Per PFT, Dallas has Collins on the block. Would be a huge upgrade. Ooh.
Lyle Collins.
Ooh. Yeah. Big upgrade.
Yeah, if you didn't already pick up McGlinchey's fifth-year option, I think that makes things a lot difficult with that situation.
Yeah. I think the Niners need to bring in someone as like McGlinchey insurance, but that's McGlinchey replacement. Speaking of Wagner, I feel like we have to make a push for him because there's a chance of him going to the Rams and hurting us like Stafford and OBJ. It says Ezio Sanchez. I totally agree. I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, I mean, Wagner, OBJ, and OBJ still like really good. Wagner, I from what I hear, Wagner's kind of on the downslide a little bit. So,
and the way that Kyle attacks linebackers is in coverage, and Wagner's not going to be helping them in coverage. They did a good job stopping the Niners' run game in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, he was great. Wagner was great in coverage coming out. I mean, one of the most athletic linebackers, but I don't think he's quite that anymore.
Jay says Croc definitely was smoking the stickiest of the icky in Cali a few weeks back. If he thinks Reed only signs for $3 million per year, laugh my ass off 5 to 7. I mean, was he great? I mean, I legit don't know. I like DJ Reed. Not a huge difference though.
He's been on my YouTube channel. We've been following each other since he was a rookie. Like DJ Reed, like, you know, we've messaged each other like all cool. I don't know. I don't know exactly how well he played. Now, I like what I saw in Seattle when I did watch him play, but I don't know what his market is on the free agency. I just don't know. I don't know how much other teams are going to value him. I have no idea.
Let me bring up his resume real quick before we move on. He's 25. He started 14 games last year. He has 4 picks in his career, not a ton, but he gave up a 67 quarterback rating last year and a 75 the year before that. I don't know. 4 picks in his career. I'm with Croc here. I don't think he's going to be too expensive.
Right.
I mean,
that, like 3 million, 4 million a year. That was the first thing that came to my head. But I mean, you never know. Shoot, Killer Witherspoon got 3 million 1 year contract or whatever. Maybe DJ gets a little bit better than that. I think he showed a little bit more consistency than the Killer Witherspoon.
Ryan says Debo enjoys the occasional offseason troll on Twitter. Great show, fellas. Yeah, and I do too. And that's why I feel like even though he blocked me, we have a little something in common. Like, oh, you're trolling us in a good way, and you're good at it. I like it. He says, oh, I wasn't talking about football. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do that too. I pulled that on people yesterday. I took the picture of him talking about realtors in Miami. I said, uh-oh, and everyone's like, oh, you're assuming that he's mad at the Niners. So I'm like, no, you're assuming that. I'm assuming that he's mad at the Niners. I didn't say what I was saying. I learned that from Debo. So Debo, I'm taking plays out of your playbook.
Yeah.
And that's our show for today. Thanks for rushing back. I know you had a lot to do today. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I gotta go train these athletes now.
Definitely, man. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back in the near future, but you never know if you're even going to be alive tomorrow. So who knows? Thanks. Shout out Kyle Shanahan on that one. See you guys.